Thank you all for joining. We will call the meeting to order. William, I'll hand it over for you for a roll call.
All right, good morning, everyone. I'm going to start off with the roll call for today's meeting, January 27th. Uh, Eileen Caffey,
Here.
Lydia Padilla, Dory Harris,
Here.
Lakeisha Mathis,
Here.
Mary Lame,
Present.
Justin Bennett,
Present.
Charlotte Hammond,
Present.
Kendra Holmes, Danita Neal, Roger Spearman.
Present.
Roger's here.
Mhm.
Present.
Yeah. Justin Raimundo,
Present.
Lucinell Haberberger, Suzanne Ajin, William Bell, present. Jose Argon,
Present.
Sherry Tillis,
Present.
Michael Newton,
Present. Good morning.
good morning. Regina Greer,
Present.
Allison Dino,
She is not here. She sends her apologies. She can't make it.
okay. Julie Fickus,
Present.
all right. Kivan Garame,
Here.
Jerry Bowles,
Present. Good morning, all.
good morning. Kimberly Chaplin, and Michelle Graham.
Present.
All right, Mr. Chairman, we have 17. We do have a quorum.
Thank you, William. Thank you all for being here. Happy New Year for those that I have not had a chance to see in this new year. So our first item for the agenda is a board member spotlight, and it is obviously one that is sad. We mourn the loss of Stacy Fowler, a board member of the board and the senior vice president for the Minority and Small Business Empowerment Center at SLDC. As we've said, and I think folks before we formally started the meeting were able to share that Stacy was a true light in our community, in our work across the city of St. Louis. I know she also did workforce development work with Slate before moving to SLDC, where she led critical work in our community around small business empowerment, economic mobility, particularly supporting underserved and underrepresented entrepreneurs. I personally had the privilege of getting to work closely with Stacy in many opportunities, and I'm sure many of you were able to work with such a wonderful person. So thank you to the Slate team on your work to support Stacy's family during this time, and board members as well that are contributing to that work. Svetlana, thank you for circulating as well funeral service information to the board. So I think we'll just take a moment here and just reflect and remember our friend, our colleague, our peer, our partner. Thank you. So with that, we will move to the next item, which is the staff spotlight. Martha Sands, Administrative Assistant for the City of St. Louis. Martha, I will see the floor to you.
Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. My name is Martha Sands. I guess I can just tell you all a little bit about myself. I've been in public service since 1976 when I got my first summer job. I've been employed by several organizations that provided direct services to the public, administered services or benefits administered by the state of Missouri, or I was in a position to be a support staff. I am a rehire for the city of St. Louis. I worked for public safety for 3.5 years. And my goal is always to work to capacity to provide the best possible services available to the public and make sure that, their needs are being met and we can meet them where they are. I retired from the state of Missouri in 2017 after almost 25 years of service. And of course, it was a public service organization. And that organization serves some of the same demographics population of individuals that Slate currently serves, or the city of St. Louis currently serves. And Ms. Johnson is calling me. I'm sorry. Good morning, Ms. Johnson. Okay, I'm gonna let Svetlana know. Svetlana, Ms. Johnson needs you to resend the link to her.
Okay,
Okay, she said, okay, she's gonna send it right now. Okay, thank you. Okay, you're welcome. Bye. Okay, I'm sorry. And so again, the organizations that I've worked for primarily serve the same demographic or the same population of people that the city of St. Louis does, that Slate does. And we know and understand the importance of providing services and being, that source of support for individuals that are in a position to seek and receive services from these organizations. I'm extremely excited to have this opportunity to be of service in this position, which is the administrative assistant for the city of St. Louis. And I work through the St. Louis Agency on Training and Employment, and I work directly with Ms. Connie Johnson as her assistant. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marcia. Thank you for your service and your long tenure supporting across the city. We appreciate you for keeping the wheels moving. And I appreciate working alongside you. So with that, we will move to the consent agenda. It looks like we don't have any items here. So let us move to the regular agenda. So, oh wait, sorry. Let me move back. I'm looking now. First, we have to approve the minutes. So I'll pause here. Does anyone have any questions on the approval of the minutes from the November 18th, 2025 meeting?
A motion to approve those minutes from the November 18th meeting.
Thank you, Jerry. We have a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
This is Eileen. I second.
Oh, thanks, Eileen. But thanks, Julie, for being there as a backup. So thanks, Eileen. Any discussion? All right. All those in favor of approving the minutes from the November 18th, 2025, please say aye.
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 excuse me, Justin, who was the first?
Oh yeah,
made
it
the
was
motion?
Jerry. It was Jerry,
Jerry.
and then the second was Eileen.
Okay.
Yep.
Got it.
All
Thank
right.
you so much.
No problem. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, those minutes are approved.
Good
Connie,
morning,
thank you for
all.
being here.
I apologize. I'm having some technical issues, and we're also trying to de-escalate a personnel situation there at the office, not with one of our employees, but in fact, a member of the Slate team. And so having to potentially get the marshals involved. So hopefully things will go well, and that employee will gracefully leave without any incident. I'll just say that. So happy Tuesday.
What a time.
And I am here. So yes.
Thank you, Connie. We will continue with our, we're thinking about you and the team here. Let us know how we can be supportive. So we approved the minutes. Let's move into the regular agenda. So the first item of new business is the formation of a nominating committee for officer elections. So Connie, I don't know if you want to introduce anything. We see that, you recommend, or the Slate team recommends, that the board approve a forming of a nominating committee with the sort of structure included here.
So good morning, all. So over the past couple weeks, Svetlana has been reaching out to all of the board, trying to get nominations for this upcoming election slate. And we did have some challenges, quite frankly. we were able to get a slate, no pun intended. But during that time and talking to our attorneys, particularly Rochelle, she recommended the creation of a nomination committee moving forward. And our bylaws, we currently don't have a nomination committee. And so she prepared the memo. And per the bylaws, a recommendation has to go to the mayor. She would have to approve it. And so she gave some language. So I wanted to propose moving forward. Essentially, that committee would consist of past and present chairs of the committee. I think, probably like another executive committee, if you will, who would be responsible for making nominations, putting together a slate. Rochelle provided a lot of institutional background, and I guess there's some measures that had been previously recommended, but I think the slate would be a good committee to add. But I wanted to bring it forward before moving it forward to the mayor, because I have to, per the bylaws, I'd have to write a letter to the mayor requesting the bylaw changes. So one of our other attorneys also had another recommendation regarding if we were not able to secure enough candidates to run for office. So she did not provide any language, but at one point, for example, we were looking at the fact that we had 2 people were running for vice chair and no one running for chair. So the recommendation came that, hey, well, maybe, if that's the case, then we could have, 2 co-chairs. And then one of the chairs would then be elected. We also did discuss whether or not we could add the terms, increase the terms of the executive chair, to see if right now it's just a 2-year cap per the bylaw. So I think all of those things are on the table. Big pictures that moving forward, when we have elections, having a nomination committee, and even having a nomination committee who could take a deeper dive into some of these other, well, what if this happens, or what if that happens? Because we do have a situation now where, unfortunately, one of our board members passed away, and that's Stacy Fowler. She represents a seat occupied by an agency partner. So in that regard, I think it's just going to be a matter of SLDC recommending another person to serve in that capacity. But she was a very senior member of SLDC as a senior vice president. So all of these things kind of, created the perfect storm for the discussion regarding a committee that could address all of these moving parts. So with that, wanted to move forward, but I did want to get some insight, intel, comments from the board.
Great. Thank you, Connie, for that background, and Rochelle and others for your guidance. Charlotte?
Hey, Connie. I don't know if this is in the bylaws or not, but I just noticed quite frequently during the roll call, we have board members that are never here. Is there any language in the bylaws that speaks to just kind of unexcused absences and being removed from the board? Because, really, we could open this up for folks who want to engage in workforce development.
Absolutely, Ms. Hammond. As I'm trying to pull it up on my phone, there is a very specific provision in the bylaws regarding attendance. And that is something that Seflana has brought to my attention on several occasions. And it's already in there. I think it's just a matter of enforcement. I want to say it's like 3 absences or something of that matter, but there is a very specific provision pertaining that. I don't know, Seflana, if you are able to pull that up, but she had been tracking that because we also have another board member vacancy. And this person, that vacancy is in part due to I think the individual retired and then just was never replaced. Ooh,
So
okay.
it is section 3, appointment and removal, C, section 1.
Three consecutive unexcused absences. That's it. So I think, it's a matter of enforcement, and with new leadership coming in, and this beginning being the new beginning of the new year, that we should, it would be something worth tracking, because I do know that, there were 12 members, 12 committee members that all just got renominated by the mayor. And so part of that is a, commitment of time. And knowing, having some other discussions with other board members are like, hey, I like being on the board. And one person even said, because it's not a lot to do. Um, and I get that, you don't want to add more to your plate than you can handle. But we will be asking more participation of the board with all of these federal changes coming down the pipe, the emphasis on public-private partnerships. We believe public-private partnerships begins with this board, begins with board member participation in Slate events. It means that the board members will invite Slate to participate in their events, their community gatherings, grant applications. So definitely, I've kind of gotten some direction that from the administration that, kind of wanting to have more collaboration in action and not just in paper. And for us, that begins with the board, because you guys represent various and clearly identified sectors of the workforce community. And quite frankly, the agency needs your help now more than ever, not only in participation, but in advocacy. And so that's my story and my 2 cents, and I'm sticking to it.
I have a suggestion. So on another organization that I was on the board for, we would put someone in the vice chair position. They would serve a term learning from the person who is the chair, and then would sort of automatically, unless there was some reason why they couldn't, ascend to the chair position. That gives people a longer time to be on the board by the, before their the exec board before their chair, and gives them some more, I don't know, confidence of, feeling like they've been trained to be the chairperson. I don't know if we would consider that, but I personally would prefer that over extending the term beyond 2 years, because I think that gives people, 2 years as vice chair and then 2 years as chair, to make sure that they are feel comfortable stepping up into the role.
Yeah, I serve on the board for the Bear YMCA, and I was second chair, and then I moved from second chair to first vice. And so now it remains whether or not I will try to ascend to the position of chair. But that the YMCA designed those leadership roles to allow people, Eileen, that natural progression, that learning along the way. And actually, even though people are number 1 or number 2 for leadership, those positions have specific tasks. So when I was second vice president, my primary role was helping with the fundraising, the annual events, and making sure we met our quota. The first vice deals more in terms of like operations, and in that regard. And then, the second vice was money and membership. The first vice, very much membership, and then operations, and then the position of chair. So I think that's kind of what, a nomination committee can really get into, and like I said, take a deeper dive, because I know we all probably serve on other boards and have similar things. And I know as well, I've shared another personal example. I'm on the board for the St. Louis City NAACP. And so the president's coming off, and they've asked me to run for first I think it's second vice in anticipation of 1 year becoming the chair. So it's a very intentional ask from the state office to allow me time to prepare. Should I decide to, as Ethan Hunt would say, should I decide to accept the mission? So yeah. But thanks.
I'm just thinking about me personally. I would feel more comfortable with a, graduated acceleration into the chair instead of, jumping up and saying I'm going to do something when I'm not entirely comfortable what is even happening, right?
I agree with Eileen. I agree, Eileen.
Yeah.
That would make a big difference in my space for me to say if I want to take on their role, actually being able to shadow somebody and really see the commitment and engagement that I would need to have as a board chair would make a huge difference, because then for me, I would build that into my workflow at GSA in a way that it doesn't take away from everything else that I'm doing just all of a sudden, right? I'd have a chance to really see how I can make this work as I plan year over year, how I want to perform for our external partners and our internal partners. So that was really good. Yes.
What, you mean you don't want to be baptized with fire? What?
I have that daily.
You don't want to be baptized with fire? Come on. Okay.
As soon as I got off the elevator on 22, fire.
Thank you. Hear that, Jerry?
I would say that there are trainings available out there for the workforce development boards to understand what the role is within the public workforce system. I know the Softwell Partners provides that type of training. Becky, I think, has put together some training. I think it's important for us to know our role. It is basically the board has the responsibility of overseeing that the federal funds that we get under WIOA are spent accordingly in supporting all of our job seekers and employers within the region that we serve. So it is a huge responsibility. I think in the past, maybe it wasn't as much now, but as funds get tighter, and there's more of a focus on workforce development. And now the president is saying he wants to focus on the job training and apprenticeships, and we have to make a shift. I think we are going to be in the focal point, and being trained and knowing exactly what our responsibility is as board members, I think is very important. And I would suggest that maybe we look to maybe getting that training for our board, so we know exactly what our responsibility is moving forward.
Sure, thanks, Jerry. And I know that Rochelle has provided historically trainings in the past on our role, and then I think that she's welcome, I'm sure, for guidance on where we'd appreciate more training and particularly during navigating these different priorities from the new administration. Rochelle, did you want to say something?
I would just say that the state does require that we provide that training, and we have provided in the past. It is probably time for us to do a regular training where we can get our board members to commit to spending a couple of hours so that we can go from start to finish, and also allow for questions and answers and an explanation. I've trained all over the country, and I'm always very happy to train for my own boards.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Thank you first for all the rich conversation. No need to cut it off if there are others that want to jump in. I will just preview, if we look to the next agenda item, it does in fact kind of play out what we just described, where we do have a person nominated or for the chair position that was serving already on the executive committee. It looks like we also have a slate of folks that have experience serving on the executive committee. And then as a reminder, the immediate past board chair does stay on for guidance because I've done 2 terms myself. Danita has served in that capacity, and that will be something I will be moving into. And I'm excited to stay involved and stay engaged, particularly as we go through this transition. Both, we're in a new world, as we've all articulated in many different ways. So appreciate the conversation here. So I will entertain a motion to approve the formation of so Connie, just so we understand the process, we will approve a recommendation and then that will be sent to the mayor's office and the mayor herself for formal approval.
Correct.
Okay. So I will entertain a motion for the recommendation from this board formally for the formation of a nominating committee for officer elections.
Mike Newton, so moved.
Thank you, Mike. Second? Anyone second?
William Bell, second.
Thank you, William. All right. Any more discussion? I will see if anyone approves, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? All right, that carries. Thank you all so much. So Connie, hopefully you have what you need from us for that
Yes.
next step, but keep us involved as we're needed.
Will do. Rochelle has already provided the historical context and legal memo that I'll be able to transfer onto letterhead and start moving forward with that. Thank you, Rochelle.
Wonderful.
And
Okay.
Justin, I'm so sorry. Just a thought as we discuss this as another pathway to be trained as a chair. The board members are welcome to chair committees.
Yes,
That
and
way
we
we'll
need
give
you
them an
too.
idea. Yes. Stacy was on a WISP committee, and Justin Bennett is the chair for the WISP committee, but we still have an opening for the chair for the finance committee. And so I just encourage the board members who are thinking about becoming an officer one day to volunteer to serve as a chair for one of our committees. I think it will be a good training for them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Svetlana. So timely, because now we're at our election of board officers. So I will I think I can preside over the election, but is there any additional guidance or comments? Previously we've introduced the slate of board members. I'm happy to do that if needed. Okay. So we will move into the officer elections for this year. For the position of chair, we have one nomination, Charlotte Hammond. Charlotte, I'll pause here if there's anything you want to say to the board before we move to vote on that role.
The only thing I would say is, excuse me, I've been involved with Slate for several years now. I believe that Slate, even more so now, is extremely needed in our community. Under Connie's leadership, I've spoken with her because I don't take this lightly. So, and I share with Connie and I'll share with the board that I like to see progress. I like to see involvement. So Connie, thank you for saying what you said earlier to the board about how, the importance of our engagement to move Slate forward and really into the 21st century. There's just a lot of changes that are happening that I'm not exactly sure if our community is ready for it in the space of IT or automation or all these things that are really changing so rapidly. So I look forward to working with Connie if the board so chooses to elect me as the chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. All right. So do we do a voice? I'm trying to remember back to our previous elections. Do we do a voice vote or?
I'd like to turn over to Barbara. Is she still with us?
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
With
Yeah, I
respect
don't
to
know
the-
that you have a hard and fast rule, but I recommend doing a roll call vote for something of such import.
Thank
is
you.
in accordance with sunshine laws for Missouri, yeah? Correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So
Oh, and
William.
I'm sorry, Chair, just to clarify, the sunshine law says we have to, like the requirement is to make sure we know exactly how each person voted. So your last vote was unanimous, so we do know exactly how each person voted, but I do think, that this is important enough to actually, record it like that.
Yes, and I think that's what we've done previously. So we will do a roll call vote. William, we're going to tag team here. So I will hand things over to William to call the roll. And as your name is called, please say yes, no, abstain on the vote here for chair.
All right. So we'll start off with Eileen Caffey,
Yes.
Dory Harris,
Sorry. Yes.
okay, Lakeisha Mathis,
Yes.
Mary Lame,
Yes.
Justin Bennett,
He left, he had to go.
okay, Charlotte Hammond,
Yes.
Roger Spearman,
Yes.
Justin Raimundo,
Yes.
William Bell, yes, Jose Argon,
Yes.
Sherry Tillis,
Absolutely yes.
Michael Newton,
Absolutely yes.
Regina Greer,
Yes.
Julie Fickus,
Yes.
Kivan Garame,
Yes.
Jerry Bowles,
Yes.
and Michelle Graham.
Yes.
All right, we have 16 yeses and one member that had to leave.
Thank you, William. Well, congratulations, Charlotte. I am excited to hand the torch over to you.
Justin, you were too enthusiastic about that vote, so that's all I have to say.
No, because I'm very supportive and I know you'll do a wonderful job. So I guess I can keep presiding over this election and then we'll hand things over to you.
Well, I think you finished presiding over the meeting.
Oh gosh. Okay,
Yes,
got it.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
We're
Justin.
not gonna not that reflects how excited I am for someone to take over after 2 terms, but I'm very
Jerry,
eager.
keep him in order. Jerry, keep him in order.
Thank you. All right. Okay, thank you so much, Charlotte. We will move to the role of vice chair. So we have one nomination, Mary Lamy. Mary, I'll hand things over to you.
All right.
Anything you want to say to the board?
I number one, I want to congratulate Charlotte. I'm super excited about that. But I think my comments are just going to focus on just acknowledging Slate and all of the organizations that are represented on the board today, and the fact that we all have this common goal with trying to support this labor market in the St. Louis area and trying to help get job seekers with the skills that they need and getting them connected to the employers. For Bi-State Development, we cover a lot of different things, whether it's the operators, it's my riverboat, it's the Gateway Arch, or the Freightway. There's lots of different jobs, but the only way any of us can be successful is working together. And so for that reason, I really appreciate the opportunity to be part of this board. So whether I'm the vice chair or anything else, I've got a lot of really great working relationships with all of you. And I think moving into calendar year 2026, it's kind of like some of the comments that we heard as far as what are we doing to support Slate and the activities and the programs. Connie had mentioned that there was an opportunity with the STL TV back in December. And that's where I'm like, hey, there's something we can do about that. We're participating in your job fairs. But the other thing is, because of these relationships I have with all of you, I can call Julie, I can call Justin. We're all in the same circle. I love the work that you guys are doing. So really, I think my role is trying to how we can leverage all the strengths that we have within our organizations and elevate and support Slate with all the great things that they're doing. So again, love the spirit of collaboration, love working with Slate's staff. I think that they are amazing, and with or without the nomination, I really appreciate the opportunity to continue to be part of Slate.
Thank you so much, Mary. We will move into the roll call vote. So I'll hand things over to William again.
All right, here we go for the vote of vice chair. Eileen Caffey.
Yes.
All right, Dory Harris.
Yes.
Lakeisha Mathis.
Yes.
Mary Lamy.
Yes.
Justin Bennett. Oh, that's right. He had to leave. Charlotte Hammond.
Yes.
Roger Spearman.
Yes.
Justin Raimundo.
Yes.
William Bell. That's a yes. Jose Argon.
Yes.
Sherry Tillis.
Yes.
Michael Newton.
Yes.
Regina Greer.
Yes.
Julie Fickus.
Yes.
Kivan Grame.
Yes.
Jerry Bowles.
Yes.
And Michelle Graham.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Chair, we have 16 yes for the vice chair for Mary Lamy.
Hey, congratulations, Mary. I have all confidence in the world. One, because you've held this role before, and you have been such an advocate and great partner with Slate and many of us in the community. I'm so excited. Okay. Yay. We have 3 nominations for the role of secretary. So I will hand things first over to William Bell to speak on his nomination.
All right, thank you, Justin. First off, I want to say it has been a pleasure serving on this board for the St. Louis workforce development. Something I don't take lightly. I think the board and the Slate, organization does great work for the city of St. Louis, helping to provide education for those who are looking to better themselves and better their community. And it's very much needed in this day and age with everything constantly changing, and just getting the word out there that there is a lot for them to learn, and a lot of opportunity out there for them. So I just think I take great pleasure in being a part of something that's this positive for the community. And I'm just grateful to serve in any capacity. So if I get elected to serve again as secretary or not, I'm going to be in it for the long haul either way. So thank you for any votes.
Thank you, William. Julie Fickus.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for the nomination. I have been a part of the board since 2019, so I feel like I've seen a lot of what has gone on with the board over time. And I think the one thing that I've noticed along that pathway is that the board has a group of individuals who have a focus on how do we make our community better. And we all have that same shared mission. And the beauty of that is that we can affect change through the board and can join arms together to work for our community's benefit. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to be nominated and just to be a part of the great work that's going on here. So thank you so much for the nomination.
Thank you, Julie. And Dory Harris.
Well, I'm the baby of the board. I just got on, and I really appreciate this. I'm glad to be a part of Slate because I remember when I first got in construction, and I mean this was years ago. I'm not going to date myself. It was a lot of people Slate was sending getting into the construction industry, and I was really impressed. So to me to be a part of this is really an honor, and it's. I appreciate it. And if I'm not elected, I'm still, going to really strive to push and help this organization to do more. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dory. All right, so this one will be a slight difference because we have multiple nominees. So when William says your name, please state who you are voting for. All right, I'll hand things over to William.
All right, here is for for the secretary position. We'll start off with Eileen Caffey.
I vote for Julie Fickus.
All right, Dory Harris.
Mr. Bell.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry.
What? Say it again. Do what you take.
I think I mean, I appreciate the nomination, but I think Mr. Bell does a good job.
There we go. All right.
Okay, all right. Lakeisha Mathis.
William Bell.
Mary Lamy.
Julie Ficus.
All right. Charlotte Hammond.
William Bell.
Roger Spearman.
William Bell.
Justin Raimundo.
I will abstain.
William Bell. I vote for William Bell. Jose Argon.
William Bell.
Sherry Tillis.
Dory Harris.
Thank you.
All right. Michael Newton.
William Bell.
Regina Greer.
Mr. Bell.
Julie Fickus.
Julie Fickus.
Kivan Garame.
William Bell.
Jerry Bowles.
William Bell.
And Michelle Graham.
William Bell.
All right, Mr. Chair, we have 11 for William Bell, 3 for Julie Fickus, and 1 for Dory Harris.
Thank you. Well, thank you all for your continued service, and congratulations, William, on continuing in the role of secretary for the 2026 term.
Thank you.
Again, I will just say I have had a pleasure serving with all of you across the board, and I know that you will continue to find ways to serve and engage on this board. And I just want to congratulate the new slate of officers, as well as thank folks that have served in this previous capacity. Thank you, William, and thank you, Charlotte, for your continued service in our previous term as well. Yes, Connie.
This is a question, I guess, for Rochelle and Barb. So then for purposes of the committees, do we need to, that will be part of the next board meeting?
Yes, if they're not on the agenda right now.
Okay. So Cephalon, if you would note that for our next board meeting, we'll need to elect committee chairs and formation of committees.
Connie, I think that our new chair would be the person, according to our bylaws, that will appoint the new committee chairs.
Okay.
And would also confer with you regarding the creation of any ad hoc committees, which we can do without the mayor's approval, because those are not standing committees. Those are committees that you might use for a period of time and then they would go away. So we can look at the committees, you, me, and Barbara, and whomever else you want can look at this and speak with our new chair about it and see how you want to organize.
Thanks, Rochelle. That would be good. That's why I'm saying that your institutional knowledge and background of all these years of the board is just, I know I've been bugging you a lot, but I do appreciate you. I need to go on record with that.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yes.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a quick question to clarify? So that new nomination committee that's been proposed, is it going to be a standing committee or is it going to be ad hoc committee?
It depends how we put it in the bylaws. We'll see how Connie wants to present it to the mayor, and we'll see what the mayor agrees to do. And because the elected official under the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act is responsible actually for the creation of the bylaws. And so while as a board, we can make recommendations to the mayor, and most often the mayor is agreeable to the recommendations, it's still at the end of the day in the hands of the elected officials. And at the time that WIOA was passed, I had a lot of conversations with the Department of Labor about this, and it was a very purposeful thing that the Congress did when they required that the chief elected officials create the bylaws. So we'll see how it's presented and how the mayor and Connie want to move forward.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all. Seeing no reports, we will move to matters from the board. Anyone have any items that they want to introduce? Hearing none, I just want to thank you all again. It's been a privilege to work alongside you. I am turned out and I'm excited to hand things over to the new slate of leadership at the board level. And I will continue to remain committed to working with all of you. And I'm hearing all of your guidance and feedback of continued engagement, partnership, and in, I think, a more, I would say, role without traditional responsibilities as the past chair. I'm happy to step in and support where I can, but I just have really appreciated working with all of you.
And Justin,
So,
Justin, you're not going anywhere because you will still remain on the executive committee with us.
yes, absolutely.
As a past
Not
chair,
just not
yes.
chairing the meetings and all of that stuff. So
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it. All right. I will move to matters from the executive director. So Connie.
Okay, so first out, since I've been in this seat, we have gotten a number of reports in, and the most recent report is the Equal Opportunity Compliance Review. This is a report that really caught me off guard in terms of an operational standpoint. But nonetheless, there were a number of citations, namely the absence of the report that was due back in June. So we have since then had a call with the EO office to obtain more clarification and clarity. One employee who was solely responsible for this, Ray, he retired. And so some of the data that the state is wanting us to report on is actually like from 2022. Still trying to get my hands around why a report that's due now involves information and reporting from 2 years ago, but be it as it may, that's what it is. I did request technical assistance. Shannon Johnson was appointed as EO officer once Ray retired, so the reporting will fall with him. I have asked Pete Eichholz, the compliance department manager, to also work with Shannon. I also requested an extension and so we could gather and collect some of this information, because it's like some cases 3 years old. So we actually had to put in a ticket to get access to Ray's drive for his data. So we did have that discussion. I have asked for Shannon and Pete to create a calendar so that we can stay on time. The new due date, I believe, is like March 16th. But nothing. One of the findings, for example, was that we didn't have the new EO officer on our website. So the state has assumed this role back. Shannon is no longer the compliance officer. The new compliance officer is a state employee. And so his name is in the signature block. I can't even remember his name, but nonetheless, Steflana did go through the website line by line and remove his name. Remove Shannon's name and Ray's name and add the new officer. So that was one compliance. Tim Dunville, thank you, Rebecca. That is the new EO officer. A couple other things had to do with whether or not we had I guess, excuse me, gotten certifications from our schools that we partner with, that they basically abide or agree to abide with EO guidelines and compliance. There was one issue. She said it wasn't a finding, but her concern was, well, why are there no complaints coming from Slate? I thought, well, maybe because there just are none. But she wanted to make sure we had all of our EO signs up, which we do. But she goes, I find it very interesting that there are no complaints. I said, okay. So be it as it may, nonetheless, like I said, we'll be working the plan. I've asked Martha also, and Martha, you're on this call. Let's follow up with that this morning when I get in from this little snowmageddon. But if you have any questions, let me know. But I think the biggest thing with this report is that it's asking for data that's a couple years old, which I can't say it's unreasonable, but it's their process. So we just have to be compliant. I also asked them for a timeline of all of these reports, like if you have annual reports that you're citing the agency for, they're annual. So when are they due? Is it due in March? Is it due in June? So I did ask for a calendar. They did provide some of that information. They even provided the last report that Bray prepared. So we do have something to go off of. But yeah, we're kind of having to go back and look through records to be responsive to some of these items. Ms. Charlotte, you have a question?
Yeah, it's not necessarily a question. It's just lessons learned from past experience, where a key report was missed. One of the things that we did in our organization, and I mentioned this before, so I'm not sure if it was ever set up, Connie, that there is and it came from IT. And it was a reminder system. So there was a primary person and a backup person, and the system, and it was all these key reports that, again, either we would lose funding or there could be some type of a penalty that was a cost to us that we had that set up, and those reminders would automatically be sent to these individuals for the primary and the backup. There was a report that could come out that would show us, here are all the current reports that are due this month. That person would be responsible for changing the next due date. So if you saw that it was past, let's say, a due date, and I would always make it earlier, that there would be a trigger that would come out that it hasn't been rechanged to the next due date. Another thing that we did, Connie, was that there was succession planning in place. There was not always just one person who was responsible for creating these reports or documents, that there was always a backup. And also there were always SOPs to go along with how these reports are created. So that was just all infrastructure changes. So that would be, just recommendation that goes beyond Connie Johnson or Justin or Charlotte or any of that would be just good practices for Slate, so that this doesn't maybe happen again. That's just my recommendation. And I'm sure the board would like to see that as well.
I concur with that. That's where my military background gene kicks in, because I'm used to SOPs. And when you have someone who's been in a position as long as someone like Ray had been in that position, the transfer of power would have been, definitely something in line. But I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that position no longer exists. And so when he left, basically the position didn't get backfilled, but the duties got reassigned to someone else. And that is what creates the perfect storm for this type of compliance report that we've received. there was a couple months or so, and it just was not a smooth. I think Ray handed over records, but in terms of walking through, there was no backup. It was Ray, and he retired, and when he left, that institutional knowledge and wisdom left with him, and nobody was able to fully step into that role. So yes, so moving forward, now that the state has their person, they're fulfilling the role. I agree, we do need someone internally who would still be the PLC or PLCs to work with Tim Dunville on these reports and on these visits. I don't necessarily know whether that's me. I would lean more toward it being more of a compliance function, but it's kind of a double whammy. He retired, and then the position wasn't backfilled. And we do need more staff.
Thank you for that feedback, folks. And Sherry, did you want to jump in?
I just have a question, because I think that what you all are discussing is extremely important, but I struggle with the consulting companies that Slate has had for many years that have helped them on these reports, and they've been around since, I don't know, this time that you're talking about. I agree with everything Charlotte has said, but if the consulting firms were there then they should have archived copies of the reports that they helped you all to complete. So I'm questioning EDSI and Rochelle if they have those reports in an archive file that they can share with you, because they were helping along at that time.
Well, when I worked on were the Department of Labor audit reports, and afterwards I helped to set up the external monitoring with Armanino coming in to look at our books and records before the state actually comes in to monitor. And those reports go directly to Connie, unless there is, or whoever's sitting in her seat, unless there is a issue that comes up, and my assistance is needed in responding to those issues. EDSI is not our consultant. EDSI is our WIOA Title I manager. They're our provider. So they're providing the services. Their staff is providing the services in the one-stop. And also they responded to our request for proposals for the one-stop operator. EEO was never done, at least since 2019, on a consultant basis. That was always Ray. And the history of that is that prior to 2019, the state, not Department of Higher Education or Workforce Development, but the state was under a federal guidance, I guess, for lack of a better word, on EEO compliance issues. And that filtered down from the state to each of the various departments. And that is what resulted in what's now the Department of Higher Education and Workforce Development being very careful to keep up with the monitoring on EEO matters, because they did not want to fall afoul of the federal government again and be under a federal guidance in terms of implementation of EEO requirements across the state. So we didn't really have any consultants for those specific items that have come up over here. So I don't know if that
second
helps in terms of-
question, does the deputy director, Cassandra, does she also not have copies of these reports in her files?
No, she does. And we have them there. I mean, the files are kept in Slate has all the previous reports, but you have to know that a report is required in order to be able to react to it. And so
I appreciate Linda's diving in. My first reaction is there is an alignment question in my mind on this one. So once Linda, you all
can you ask Regina to mute her phone?
That's my question mark.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear the question.
You
Oh, I think it
answered
was
it.
just background noise.
Oh, okay. All right. But anyway, I think Connie's going to put the required checks and balances in place, and she's already spoken with the state, so I don't think this will happen again. And I'm not telling anybody something that you don't know, but when the mayors change, there is a lot of change within the city, and a lot of times that change happens very, very quickly, and so passing the baton doesn't always result in a very smooth transfer of all the information that was there before.
Thank you all. I think this has been a rich discussion. I know that, in the interest of time, there's some other items that we want to cover. I will encourage, as we can, just continued evaluation of these processes. Thank you for the transparency, Connie. And then we all have seen guidance on the report here as well. So I encourage us maybe at various levels here at the full board, committees that are relevant to this process, as well as the executive committee, to be mindful of continued guidance and oversight as needed in relation to how Slate operates in this space.
Okay, well, on to the next one, the one-stop recertification. That is another, it's that time of year, or it's our time to do the recertification process. It's my understanding that this is a kind of a multi-step process, and the notes in here reflect just trying to get some clarification. But I'm going to yield again to Rochelle for that institutional background, and as we move forward on our recertification.
Sure, of course. We're required, the one-stop system is required to be recertified every 3 years. The state provides guidance to us. We work with Rebecca Ritter, our one-stop operator, and Connie will work with our new chair to create or appoint an ad hoc one-stop certification committee, and that committee will be between 3 and 5 members. Connie will probably send something out asking if any of you would like to be on that committee. And the committee will work with Rebecca to review those specific checklists that we get from the state that tells us what we need to look at in order for the board to feel comfortable that in fact the one stop is deserving of recertification. And then we hand those documents up to the state when they're done. And so there's a time period in which we do this. I think Rebecca has had experience in doing this before, and we will be able to start that pretty soon.
And Rebecca and Svetlana have gone through and gathered data from the last recertification. So I feel like we do have a template, and like Rochelle said, we'll be reaching out real soon, because we've trying to put together a timeline that would allow us to wrap all this up by March in advance of the actual due date.
Yeah, we're in good shape.
Yeah. Okay. It's the next item on here. Okay, so let's just get to some good news. As you all know, when we had the May 16th tornado, we originally, in the month of June, had received a $250,000 grant award from the Office of Workforce Development to hire tornado recovery workers to do debris cleanup. This grant here, we've been awarded a new grant because the state applied for additional tornado recovery money. And so we received $1.5 million for the purpose of hiring and employing individuals to work on tornado recovery jobs. So the scope of the jobs now, can Regina be muted?
Range, but the giving history shows.
Svetlana, can you mute Regina and send her a note in chat? Thanks. So now the scope of this grant is significant, significantly broad, that will allow more opportunities for people to work. I've been in a series of discussions with personnel, city forestry department, streets department, about the identification of positions within city government where we can use this money for. So the goal is to try to employ 105 participants over a 10-week period. The hourly wage would be comparable to whatever that particular position would be, and that employee would work for that participant would work for 40 hours a week. There's also money in here for supportive services, a small allotment that would allow us to pay for steel toe shoes or vest and gloves, that kind of thing. And also, I'm proud that we have talked to our existing subrecipient EDSI, and because of the nature of this grant, we'll be able to add it to their existing adult and dislocated worker contract. They were the ones who implemented the first round, the first 250. That program went well. It could have gone better had the contract been given priority processing, but that's neither here nor there. We don't anticipate we'll have that. I have uploaded the contract and it is slated to be on the ENA agenda for February. So God willing, if all the stars align, this will be presented to the ENA board. The goal here is the state really wanted coordination with what was going on with the Tornado Recovery Office. They wanted to be able to assure that the funds would be used to assist in the city's overall recovery efforts. As part of this, Slate will be working more closely with the Tornado Recovery Office, not only on this grant, but just period. I had been an advocate for the agency, advising them that, you know, we have the people. Last year, over 10,000 people came to our job center. That is huge. Over 10,000 people came to our job center seeking services, jobs, etc. So for the purposes of tornado recovery, I've advocated that it would probably be in their good interest to consider using us sometimes for some of these various workshops and forums, while so much has been outsourced. But be it as it may, all of this did open up a much needed dialogue between Slate and the Tornado Recovery Office, because the big picture here is that, yes, people do need their housing, but people also need to go to work. And as the city's workforce agency, we want to help the city move forward with placing people who have been displaced because of the tornado, and also offer employment opportunities to those who need it in this city. So I'm very grateful for that. Still a lot of moving pieces, and to that extent, the mayor will announce this in a press conference to be held at Slate. At this time, we do not have the date. We thought initially it was going to happen last week, but due to some other priority events, and some more details we needed to flush out, decided to push it back a little bit. But as it stands right now, a portion of these jobs are definitely going to be dedicated to forestry, okay, for some tree planting and removal. And there'll potentially also be some potential opportunities with LRA properties that were damaged by the tornado, lots of trees and that kind of thing. So big pictures that we will be able to work with the Tornado Recovery Office and actively work, putting people to work while helping with that effort. So we're excited about it. Any questions? And again, yeah, so then our next one,
Hey, Connie, I'm sorry, I couldn't get my hand up fast enough. How much did you say the starting pay was for the workers? Did you say that?
It will be comparable to whatever the position. So we've identified the role of utility worker.
Okay.
If a person is placed in a utility worker position with the city of St. Louis, that salary starts at $16.91.
Okay.
So, but when we budgeted, we had initially planned for the $20 an hour salary. But if some of these positions are not with the city, we may be able to pay people a little bit more.
Is there an opportunity, Connie, that if we get some dedicated people that the city would see them as maybe a pathway maybe to permanent employment? I hear that the city has a lot of job openings, and maybe that could be an opportunity if we find some really good workers.
I think that that will be an opportunity. As a matter of fact, out of the 12 people that were hired for the first grant, two or three of them were moved into permanent positions with the city of St. Louis.
Okay.
So we had just held and I will talk about that next, but I think absolutely there's opportunity. Absolutely opportunity. And yes, Jerry, we do need to share those success stories. EDSI, they did a great job in overcoming some of the challenges we had trying to get this first one through. And in spite of all those challenges, we're able to put people to work. So that's always the goal. So yes, Jerry, we'll make sure we get some success stories sent up to you. I'll reach out to Dana. The next thing is that just for background, short background, as you all know, our program money comes from the state of Missouri, Department of Labor, Department of Social Services. That's our bread and butter. From an operational standpoint, we receive money from the city's economic development sales tax. Per ordinance, 10% of the city's economic development sales tax funds is dedicated to workforce. However, also per ordinance, Slate has to split that money with the Department of Human Services. So Human Services has a workforce program entitled Youth Empowerment. They have previously, I guess, run the program directly out of their department and did an RFP. But this year we were approached to see if we were able to implement that program for them. So we have entered into an MOU with Department of Human Services for $1.4 million. The purpose of that program will be to employ 100 individuals, youth, out-of-school youth, ages 19 to 24, who are city residents, with a focus on those living in neighborhoods impacted by the tornado. This will be a program really where it's not just a job, but it's a mentoring opportunity. We want employers to pour into these individuals and help them get guided to career paths that may turn into permanent positions. I will be asking city departments to identify a role so that we can place people in this within city government. And we're also, again, we'll be working with EDSI. This is a program that can run parallel with the Summer Youth Employment Program, where we already have a list of over 50 employers. So this is another matter that has to go before the Board of E&A, but the MOU has been executed. We're excited. We're trying to put together the packet, and hopefully we'll obviously be trying to roll this out sooner, I would say within the next 60 days. So that's a good thing. And we're hoping that if we knock this out of the park, that Human Services will again want to contract with us to carry out this program. And yes, we are excited that EDSI will be working with us because it runs parallel actually to our SYEP program, although the ages are a little bit different. SYEP starts at 14 and goes up to 24. This program, you have to be 19 years of age. This job program will be an actual program. We're going to have workshops to prepare people for jobs along this 10-week period, how to do your resume, how to ace the interview. But we're also in discussions with SLDC and participating in a program where some of our participants will take a computer class, and upon successful completion, they would receive a free laptop computer. So we're still working out the details. Happy to answer any questions. And yes, so I see Jerry and Larry are talking, but that's a great thing. The seasonal utility hiring fair, we did that last Friday. It was an absolute success. We partnered with the city's Department of Personnel to help them in placing of 200 temporary utility worker positions. I think we had at final count over 150 people showed up to apply for those jobs with forestry, parks and rec, a very good thing. And so we're happy. It was a really good event. We'll be following back up with personnel. We may have a part two, but that is a perfect example of how we're trying to break down silos here at Slate. You know, we got to work better within city government in order to work better outside of city government. So it doesn't do any of us any good if I'm over in my corner in my sandbox doing this and you're in your sandbox doing this. We are the city's workforce center. We should be at the center and the forefront of all hiring actions, you know, particularly of this magnitude. And so that's what we aim to and plan to do. And that's what we also want to do with more corporations as well in response to a rapid response when people start laying off, et cetera. So this was a good thing and very proud of the team and staff. We were all hands on deck. And as always, our team showed up and showed out. McDonald's hiring a day. This was a project that was led pretty much by Shannon. He had been in communication with Ruiz McDonald's. That is one of the largest Hispanic-owned McDonald's in this region. We put the link to the event in there. Another successful event. People were hired. We had over 80 people participate. They were hiring anything from cooks to managers. There were some people who were hired on the spot. That fair consisted of several McDonald's franchises. So people who applied may very well also be hired even after the fact. But it was a fun event. Again, hands on deck. Hamburglar was there. That's one of my favorite McDonald's characters. He was there on site taking pictures, so we were able to have fun. But this initiative is also consistent with our outreach efforts to the Hispanic community. Slate has joined the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and we will be, and we're also working with the Office of New Americans in the mayor's office about making sure that our services and programs are accessible to people where English is not their primary language. So this was a good initiative, and we're happy that this went so well. So check out the video. Shannon did a good job talking about it. We've also created our 2026 hiring events calendar. This is, even though we have outlined and identified events, it already seems like after we put this out, more events have been created. So this is where we ask the board is, hey, you know, if you'd like to participate in a fair, have to give a shout out to Bi-State. They have been one of our biggest partners. We have hosted, I think it was a Find a Job Friday or Workforce Wednesday event where they came with jobs. They interviewed people. People were hired on site. That was great. We need more of that. So if your organization is having a job fair, or if your organization is in need of hiring or training people for interviews and getting resumes, let's work together. You know, we can table an event, we can co-host an event, but we want to be partners in words, more than words. We want to be in actions and partnering, tabling events, and also applying for grants, going for money, particularly with some of the ones that are coming down from Department of Labor. They are really, really heavy on private-public partnerships, some with these apprenticeships. So if you all see opportunities that we don't see, please reach out so we can see if there's a potential collaboration. with that, I did not put on the agenda, but I just have another note. We all know about the passing of Stacy Fowler. Her services will be on Friday. I plan to write a letter of condolences on behalf of the agency because she did work for Slate for so long, but I didn't know if the board was going to be sending anything since she was a board member. That's the only thing I forgot to put on the agenda.
I think it should, well, go ahead, Justin.
Oh, I was going to say I'm working on sending an arrangement. I'm happy to make that from the entire board.
Okay, thank you, Justin. Appreciate that. The Slate Keeping events calendar that is public facing. So are you saying, do we have it? We post things on social media or on our website? Sethlana will be updating some more information, and she can answer whether or not the calendar has been posted to the website. In terms of the overall calendar, we do have a couple initiatives coming up. One with the St. Louis American, where we anticipate we'll have our calendar in there, and we'll be working on some other marketing efforts, maybe with the Business Journal, where we maybe also be able to have our calendar featured in their workforce development section. So we're in discussions with some people about that. And then obviously with STL TV, that partnership, they run it on their monitors, on their programs. Next question, can we text out URL to help push customers? Yes, you can. Rebecca Ritter, two things. We do have a service called Constant Contact. That was one of the programs we had hired from, or our previous marketing person had. We had to go through some hoops in order to take ownership of it. But now we do have ownership of it. So the plan is to be able to build a database so that we can do more texting. But Jerry, we're happy to talk to you more about that offline between Sethlana and Rebecca to figure out how we can do more in that space. That's all I have. And as always, please give me a call, reach out, email. I will be in the office. We're gonna try to finish digging my car out from my front, so I can make it off of this dreaded side street. But I know that the main roads are good. But I live in a cul-de-sac, and they don't come and shovel it. I know side streets, so we got to get myself out. But.
Well, thank you, Connie, for that robust and really lots of detail in your report. And so please continue to let us know how we can be helpful. Thank you for the encouragement and guidance from the board during that conversation. I will pause here. Svetlana, do we have any members of the public or matters from the public?
We do not, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you all. I hope you remain safe and warm. I think it particularly echoing in the spirit of Connie's comments previously that we serve as sort of the heart of the workforce ecosystem for the city of St. Louis. I know that there is many in sort of our response workforce, particularly those that are doing snow plows, that have worked around the clock to clear our streets and keep us all safe and warm. So we just want to share thanks to those that have been doing that service to keep us moving through our community, and your own organizations that have been navigating the own safety and well-being of folks in your organization. So thank you for all of that. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. This is Charlotte.
Thanks, Charlotte. Do I have a second?
Second, Julie. Sorry.
Okay.
Julie, let's do Julie.
We'll give that one to Julie this time. All right, all those in favor for adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? All right, thank you all. Congratulations to our new officers. Here's to a successful 2026.